Stand right here, sir. Raise your right hand facing y'all.
You, sir, or from the tell the truth.
Yes, ma'am.
Yo, like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. We watching Straight Drop, the Young Dolph murder. Rest in peace to Young Dolph. We watching the trial right
My first name
now.
is Mahaj. My last name is Abdullah.
And can you spell the first and last, please?
Yes, sir. My first name is spelled M-A' capital H-A-J-J. My last name is spelled capital A-B-D-U-L hyphen capital B-A-A capital Q-E-E.
Let me first apologize for you having to be here, because I'm going to take responsibility for it. Okay? You are an extra witness to clear up a mistake from yesterday. Okay?
Yes, sir.
How are you employed?
I'm employed with the Memphis Police Department.
And how long have you been with this police department?
26 years.
2021, where were you assigned?
I was assigned to the homicide unit.
Do you have occasion to work on the case having to do with the murder of Adolph Gordon Jr., the rapper and so on?
Yes, sir.
In particular, on November the 24th, and then on November the 26th of 2021, did you have occasion to go to the Crosstown building?
Yes, sir.
For what purpose?
We were attempting to see if there was video footage in connection with this investigation.
Did you speak with security there?
Yes.
Were you allowed to view video there?
Yes, sir.
Did you retrieve video from there?
Yes, sir, we did.
And was it accurate surveillance footage from the building?
Yes, sir.
From November the 16th and November the 17th?
Yo, this is crazy, y'all. For real, man. Tap in.
Yes, sir.
And
This is what happens when
camera angles.
Many camera angles.
you make bad decisions over money.
November
You know what I'm saying?
6th.
This man's life is on the line, and his brother and his co-defendant is telling on him. No honor amongst
On
thieves.
the surveillance day, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
With the hour and the minute, and then what you observed.
Yes, sir.
For instance, at 2:41, the surveillance video shows a male wearing a black cap with a Bass Pro logo. You made that to a short timeline, is that right?
Yes, sir.
That accounted for, or did it account for the comings and goings of a suspect that I sort of just described, the Bass Pro hat?
Yes, sir.
Those videos that you viewed and that you obtained, did they have timestamps on them?
Yes, sir.
So when you watch the videos, you can see what time it was and you can see the time going as you watched it.
Yes, sir.
Those accurate timestamps?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did I explain to you?
I don't object to the answer to that accuracy. It seems like a foundation as to how you know that.
Did you review the footage with the security officers?
Yes, sir.
And when you
This is
reviewed
bad,
the security
man.
footage,
Rest
did
in
you-
peace to Young
were you
Dolph,
invited
man.
back to see
Leave your
what
Dolph
kind of
emojis,
footage
man, in the
was
comments, man.
Yes, sir.
And did you observe the time on the video that you were, when you were back there, to be the true time of the security units?
Yes, sir.
Did I explain to you before you got on the stand how those videos were played to the jury?
Yes, sir.
Did I explain to you that each sort of event, let's say it's the man in the Bass Pro hat leaving the building at 2:40 a.m., okay, was shown as a reel, which would mean the individual, for instance, would walk to the elevator and be on the elevator camera. And then when he got in the elevator, it would switch to the inside the elevator camera.
Yes, sir.
When they got to the lobby, it would switch to lobby camera. When they got to the parking area, it would switch to parking camera.
Yes, sir.
When you obtain videos now, you got videos of each separate camera, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Did I explain to you that when you make a reel of the cameras, that the timestamps disappear and aren't part of the reel?
Yes, sir.
And did I tell you that to make up for that, a black screen was inserted in front of each of the events on the reel that had a date and time of what we were looking at?
Yes, sir.
Did I tell you that of the various events, that black screen was correct for all but one?
Yes, sir.
And I tell you there was a mistake with regard to one of those reels.
And this video is for educational or entertainment purpose, man.
For that.
This is the
I'm
live
to show you
of the trial,
and
day
ask you to
3 of
recognize
Justin
these
Johnson,
the
straight
original
drop.
videos not made into a reel. that
The
you
Young
came
Dolph
across
murder.
With regard to the suspect leaving directly before Dolph's homicide. Okay.
Okay.
I don't know if you can see, can you see through the plastic to the green writing on top?
Yes, sir.
All right. What is that green writing on top?
The green writing up top says, 8th floor, W8 elevator, and it gives the, I'm looking at the date of 11/17/21 with a time of 10:49 and 26 seconds, 28 seconds right now, AM Central Standard Time.
Okay, if you stop just for 1 second. That's 10:49 a.m.
Yes.
Did I tell you that the black screen that we had seen previously said 11:49 or 11:41 was all an hour?
Yes.
Okay, and I tell you that was a mistake,
Yes, sir.
and we'll take ownership of that mistake. Is this the true timestamp?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Little girl gonna miss her dad. His actions, man, is gonna take him away from this little girl for the rest of his life, man. Look, this is the day he's about to go murder young Dolph, right? And he's with his daughter, bro. That little girl gotta be no more than probably 3 to 4 years old, 3 years old. She's never gonna see her dad again unless her moms or someone take her up there. He's going away for the rest of his life, bro. That is sad, man. You know, that you took a man's life for $40,000, bro. $40,000. It makes you say, what you gonna do with the 40,000? Is the 40,000 going to make you a millionaire? Is the 40,000 going to take you out of poverty? Is that 40,000 is really going to do anything for you? This is the wicked situation behind this whole thing. But keep watching, y'all, man. Tap in, leave a like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. But listen, man, this is live, and we get into the bottom of this. And I come in and out, you know, throughout this situation and give my opinion. So all of y'all out there, y'all gotta pay attention to what you're doing. This man is about to lose his whole life over a dumb decision to take somebody's life, bro.
20 seconds.
For $40,000, you're gonna go kill somebody. And now the people you did it with, they telling on you. This man's own brother got on the stand and told on him. Come on, man. Nobody trying to do this big. They like, shit, we ain't get away with that. I'm telling. It's crazy, man.
You see the time stamp on this one?
Yes, sir.
10:50 a.m.
Yes, sir.
This election is about two very different visions of our nation. Donald Trump might
We're handling that one, and it's 10:51 a.m.
This is crazy, y'all. I kid you not, man. This is crazy, y'all. I kid you not, man.
10:51 and 47 seconds.
This is why I try to tell a lot of y'all young men out there, man, it's not worth the money. It ain't worth nothing, man, because this man about to go away for the rest of his life for killing somebody for $40,000. Go away for the rest of his life for killing somebody for $40,000. Go away for the rest of his life for killing somebody for $40,000. Go away for the rest of his life. Word, Joe. It's crazy, man. And then he got his little daughter with him. He wasn't even thinking about that little girl. You see what I'm saying? He was so thirsty for getting a record deal, 40,000, and you know, living up to the hype of whatever, bro.
10:55.
Big Jook is dead, so his money and none of that can't help you, man.
Turning into
You know what I'm saying? Rest in peace to Big Jook and all that, but he's dead.
50-something seconds.
They can't help you, son. Straight drop is done.
And 55 seconds, 35 seconds.
This is live, y'all, man. For if y'all don't understand, this is live. But we're gonna ride out with this month. You heard? Like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Throw your Dolph emojis in the comments, man, and let me know, man, how y'all feel about how everything is planning out for this man. No, Justin Johnson, straight drop. You know what I mean?
56.
Cornelius already told everything. His brother already told everything. We don't know what Govan gonna say yet. But as I see right now, straight drop is 10 toes down with this shit. You know, he got no choice. Unless he get on stand and you know, throw other people under the bus. You feel me?
All
Right now, he the solidest one out.
Just some seconds.
And come to find out, he ain't even do a lot of shooting. Cornelius telling everything. And he did everything with the Draco.
Now, even though we've seen those videos before spliced together as a reel, since these have the true time and the true time stamp on it, not the error, I would like to introduce these as evidence under that State's Exhibit 5, that will keep it open for digital evidence.
Yes, sir. I'm a little confused as to how you're gonna keep them separate. Tell me how you're gonna keep them separate.
We have-
How they're gonna be marked, I guess.
They're clearly labeled.
Okay.
And they're gonna be labeled, so for instance, on these, they're labeled, timestamp included correct time. But if we need to also assign them A, B, C, D, and
And,
things like that.
and does that not need to coincide with the incorrect one? Or no?
I'm telling you, yo, if y'all pop in, man, if you don't stay for the duration of the video, man, hit the like button, man. Hit that like button for me. Subscribe to the channel for me.
Yesterday with the wrong time. That's on this same,
Yes.
this route, right? So how are we gonna know what this video coincides with the ones that were shown last week?
They have the time, they have the date and the time, and we know what happened is the real time is 10:50-ish.
That's where you're from.
Yes.
So they turned off the sound, man, because they don't want you to hear the sidebar conversation. But this man right here, man, is facing a lot of time, right, for something that he ain't even get to enjoy. That $40,000, he ain't even enjoying that, man. For real. He is right now, he is tormented by everything that's going on, man, these last 3 days, bro. Mind you, you went on a drill with somebody you ain't even know. Literally, you ain't even know the person that long, 3 months, and you about to go on an execution mission with somebody that you just met? Come on, man. It don't matter what this man telling this lady, man, right now, man. They got you red-handed, bro, from the cars and everything. And I'd be surprised there's nobody else that, you know, in that house, that apartment he was in, don't come testify and say, yeah, I seen them in that car. He had that car for a few days. Then come to find out, they saying that car was in another, a couple of videos. Back in times when I was watching all this, before I was really blogging on a lot of stuff, they was trying to say that, you know, allegedly that was Black Youngster's baby mom's car that got stolen. Come on now, we gonna believe that shit. But anyway, that's what they was saying. That's what they was saying, man. You heard? That's what they was saying. But you could see the look on his face. He's like defeated. When you see your own brother from the same mother get on the stand and say everything that y'all that you helped him do. Come on now. Shit is deep out here, man. That's why I try to tell y'all youngest, man, get out these streets, stay away from these streets. You know what I'm saying? Because there's no loyalty. I don't care how much you feel that your man got your back. This right here is a prime example that they don't. Out of 3 years after they done killed this man, Young Dolph, rest in peace to him, and condolences go out to his family. Soon as you go to trial, separate from them, come on, man. DA hit you up like, yo, he about to do the trial by himself. All right, they back on the court, man. They back.
correct me if I'm wrong, we've watched sort of one event that you viewed on the Crosstown video, is that correct?
Yes,
And we've watched the original video with the timestamp.
yes,
And the times that we saw were 10:49 to 10:56 a.m.
yes, sir.
Approximately an hour and a half before the shooting.
Yes, sir.
You also watched other video, correct?
Yes, sir.
An earlier video from around 2:40 that morning, when the suspect left the Crosstown complex, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you also watched a video from around 4:48 with the Mercedes arriving at the Crosstown complex, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And then you also watched a video from later that evening around 7:52 p.m. Of the suspect returning to Crosstown, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And then a video around 8:17 p.m. of the suspect with luggage leaving the Crosstown concourse, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And as you watch these videos, did you also create a timeline of these events?
Yes, sir.
And did you do that back when you originally watched the videos, 11:24 and 11:26 of 2021?
Yes, sir.
Now, I asked you this document, and asked you what this is.
I think we
Yo, it's crazy how now get inside live footage of a crime, yo. They trying to show the community that you're gonna be on national TV for your crimes. So they making crazy bread. They getting bread from you, and they getting bread because they channel is monetized. Believe you me, they screaming live. So they making money on top of making money. Why you, who want to do the dumbest things in these streets, go to jail, facing mad charges, bro.
Those times I just read to you from that timeline, did you verify that those are the times when those things happened?
Yes, sir.
With the videos with the timestamps
The video was timestamped.
before they were ever put into reels or whatever?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hey, John. Morning, Lieutenant.
Good morning, sir.
Doing all right today?
Well, and you?
Doing well. So I've just got a few questions for you. Appreciate you being here.
Yes, sir.
So you asked some questions about obtaining the Crosstown videos, and I think you said that you went on November 24th to try to obtain video from across town and the 26th.
Yes, sir.
Did you go twice because you weren't able to get them the first time and had to go back, or were you able to get some the first time and some the second time?
We were not able to get anything initially, because they had to have a technician to actually retrieve the video. We went in and reviewed, I say, we are talking about my partner, Sergeant West and I. We went in and we reviewed, within a certain time frame, which was from, I think we reviewed from 2:30 to about 11 o'clock. It was our time frame of review. And we went and reviewed those time frames and had bookmarks done.
Okay.
Once the bookmarks was done of videos from each section or part of camera view at Crosstown Concourse, then the technician came in later and downloaded those bookmarks for us.
Fair to say that the system that you're watching these videos is a computer system?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Not like old school VCRs, tapes running, a wall or anything, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I'm sure in your long career in law enforcement, you collected a lot of surveillance data
Yes, sir.
from different locations. And you would agree with me that it's not uncommon for surveillance video timestamps to be inaccurate.
That's true.
And I think you said the way that you went about trying to confirm accuracy was by looking at the time when you were there and looking at the video and saying it was the same place. Those times matched. If you're there on the 24th at 2 p.m., you looked up at the system and it said on the video it was the 24th at 2 p.m.
You compare the live view.
It's the live view.
Yes, sir.
But you would agree with me, you weren't watching the live view on November 17th, or November 16th, when these concourse videos were actually being recorded, correct?
No, we were not.
You're going back and reviewing an archived video format of those, correct?
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, man. Yes,
Yes. And truth be told, you can't, whether it was the live view was accurate, right? You can't say whether it was accurate on the 17th, right? Because all you did was look on the 24th and go, my watch says it's 2 p.m. on the 24th. I'm making up that time just as an example. And the live view shows it as 2 p.m. on the 24th. Therefore, this must be accurate. That's right.
yes, we use a live view to check and see if the cameras were accurate during that time before we did the bookmarks.
But that test alone doesn't tell you whether or not it's accurate on November 17th and November 16th. You would have to agree with me, right?
Yes.
So you can't say that these timestamps are accurate as to what occurred on November 16th or 17th, right? Because you don't know if the system was rebooted, malfunctioned, something happened. You can't speak to any of that.
I cannot tell you anything out to that system. I can only tell you that when we did our initial view, as far as live view is concerned, we compared, and that's been our best practice to do each and every time we download video to make sure that there is no differentiation between hour, minutes, sometimes, because sometimes it can be a 30-minute time loop or an hour time loop. That's why we do the live view best practice before we begin that review.
Right, and that's something, because especially on a system like this, that's something that, computer technician would have to tell you, right? Someone familiar with the system, that audits the system or works on the system or at least is qualified and does the system.
So let us know if there was a time loop or there was an inaccuracy.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Right, and you didn't have that. You didn't have that information.
Well, we had a computer technician with us at the time because he was the one that had to download all the footage that we had bookmarked. So yes, there was someone there to let us know that this is the time.
Right, but other than saying we booked, because you said you bookmarked it, other than saying we bookmarked these times, did you ever say, was there any issue with the system? Do we know these times to be accurate?
That was never a question answered.
All right, you just based that on the live time.
Yes,
All right.
his ability to tell us that we were in live time and it was accurate during the time in which we started the preparation of bookmark.
Perfect. Yes, sir. All right. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Oh, 1 second. Thank you.
No, no.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Call your next witness.
Mr. Michael Gardner.
Step up to the sir. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Let's see what
Tell us your name, please. Michael Garner. And spell the first and last name correctly, please. MICHAELGARNER. How are you employed, sir?
I'm a criminal investigator, special agent with the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation.
And how long have you been with TBI?
Only 3 months.
Because you were with MPD before that, is that correct?
Yes, sir. I retired in June after 20 years.
20 years MPD and now you're at TBI.
Yes, sir.
At some point during your service at MPD, did you become involved in digital forensics?
Yes, sir. In 2018, I was assigned to the organized crime unit, and so digital evidence came in, and they needed a computer guy to look at it, and that's when I started in digital forensics, which became full-time in July of 2020.
So 6 or 7 years ago, you got your start in this.
Yes, sir.
And then full-time in MPD, what does a digital forensics person do?
We extracted evidence from mobile devices, GPS monitors, car infotainment centers, and reported those findings out to the investigators working the cases, sir.
Did you receive, have you received special training to do that sort of job?
Yes, sir. In both digital forensics and cellular technologies. Started with cellular technologies in 2012 and got my first certifications in 2014 with a PATC Tech. And then in 2015, I started working with the electronic surveillance and communication intercepts, and I got certified on PLX through a company called Penlink, and did a lot of call detail record analysis with PLX. And then working digital forensics, we like to try and marry the cellular technologies from the cell phone carriers with the device itself. So then I started working with applications like CellHawk and of course forensic applications like Cellebrite and Magnet that would pull the data from the device and look at the CVRs and just put those together for a complete picture of like a digital footprint.
And is there still training that you do to keep updated on this?
Yes, sir. This technology changes quite often. You can tell the last couple of years with 4G going to 5G, and about every 2 months, I continue education with sometimes 1 hour blocks, but often 3 hour blocks of instruction on just the evolving technologies. And that's both through Penlink with their systems and vendor neutral for the PATC Tech.
I'm going to have you explain what some of this is. Before you testified, you handed me a list, I guess, of your training hours on various digital forensic things, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
How many hours of training have you had?
Almost 1,500 hours.
Almost 1,300 hours.
Yes, sir.
And that is actual training that's not, you also do your job too, right?
Yes, sir. That is outside the scope of my work. Yes, sir.
With regard to what we're going to be talking about here is cell phones, and we've mentioned it already, call detail records. Quickly, I know that you have a presentation that helps explain the technology.
Yes, sir.
If you could just sort of quickly tell me what we mean by call detail records, if you would.
So when you sign up for service through a cell company, you've got an account with that company, and they can monitor the usage of that account, and that reporting out that we receive is the call detail records. And it's just the records of your calls, incoming, outgoing, text messages, your data usage, and they break it down so that you can be billed properly, and they can make a little bit of money, and you get good service.
Do some of these call detail records have tower information on it?
Yes, sir.
And what do we mean by tower information? What am I trying to say when I say tower information?
So the cell tower is what we're talking about here. Your cell phone uses radio waves, much like a walkie-talkie or a can and two strings when you were little. But it's a wireless communication from that device to a tower that then relays that communication to whether you call another cell phone or a landline or another country. And those communications are logged with the company.
Someone like you, do y'all have access to like where these towers are?
Yes, sir. The cell site database I get through the FBI, a website that I have to register through, and they verify me as a law enforcement officer. And when Sprint bought, when AT&T bought Sprint, they merged their towers, they turned some of the towers off. So every time you look at a case, you want to look at the towers during that time frame, because the towers are always changing. And I get that list of towers, and the list changes from the FBI website called Indicat.
And so in your job, or sometimes you ask, or are you sometimes asked to look at call detail records that have tower information and attempt to determine approximate areas that particular device could be located in a certain time?
Yes, sir. Well,
And are you able to do that?
if the data is there, absolutely, yes, sir.
And have you done that one time, or have you done that a lot?
I've done that almost 1,000 times.
Almost on a day-to-day basis at NPD?
Yes, sir. Daily.
And part of your job now at TVI?
Yes, sir.
Was a lot of that training, those hours, spent on that sort of concept or that practice?
Over a third of those hours are in cellular technology. Yes, sir.
Have you had occasion in the courts of Shelby County to testify as an expert on these call detail records, emphasis on location, before?
Yes, sir, I have.
One time or multiple times?
Multiple times.
State court and federal court?
Federal court was digital forensics, not cellular technology. But yes, sir.
The digital forensics, would that include extractions from cell phones?
Yes, sir.
And what is an extraction from a cell phone?
This is, we take the device, and if we are able with our software and technologies, we make a complete copy, if possible, of everything that's on that device. And then we take a copy of that, make a copy, and then we analyze that copy what we pulled from the phone.
And to do that, you have to be trained in the various programs and everything that extract information
Yes, sir.
and trained how to look at it.
Yes, sir.
And have you received that training and those certifications?
I have this, some of the other hours in there received training from both the vendors of the softwares that we use, things like Magnet and Celebrite, Gracia, and then non-vendor training through IASIS and the NCFI in Hoover, Alabama, through the Secret Service.
Your Honor, I would attend this witness, Mr. Garner, as an expert in call detail analysis, emphasis on location, and digital forensics.
No objection.
Tell me what that, was the
Well, I'm not saying I got it right? Call detail records, emphasis in this case on location, and digital forensics.
So I called about this witness, Mr. Garner, as an expert in the area of call detail records with emphasis in location and digital, what's that last word?
Digital forensics.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, I know it's,
That's all right.
I'm struggling with the technology over here at Central City. Mr. Honor, have you prepared a report with regard to this case?
Yes, sir.
Let me pass you this, just verify this is your report.
Yes, sir.
All right, we should go ahead and mark that as statements and reason.
Okay.
You know, we like,
76.
this is 76 page document.
76 minus 3, or is it 76?
76 minus 30 is 73.
73 page document. It's entitled Tennessee Bureau of Investigation Cybercrime and Digital Evidence Report prepared by Special Agent Michael Garner. We'll mark this as a collective exhibit number 64.
We can return that to the witness. And if we can publish this as I asked, Agent Garner questions. We managed to get it on the computer up here, so we're ahead of the game. Obviously, the title page with regard to this case, all right?
Yes, sir.
All right, we skip to the next. You go ahead.
All right. So during my presentation, I just didn't want to show these slides of me just mapping out where a cell tower location is and the antenna. Kind of want to teach you about what I'm talking about here. It kind of covers the cellular technology and how it works. Because some people think you get shit on the phone and it goes to a satellite and then it comes down. They do have satellite phones. That's not what we're talking about here today. And then we're going to go over the requested information of me, what they had asked of me, and then my analysis, and then the mapping of those records. And here they're just going to kind of go over the cellular technology that I've had hundreds of hours to train in. Here we go. So we see these when we got them down there, say that we're pulling in the grocery store. So that is a cell tower, cell site location based transceiver station. What we really are interested in is the tops of them. They're called heads. And those little white rectangles, those are antenna. You might see 3, you could see as many as 9 facing one direction. It all depends on the topographical area and the population of that area. The more cell phones, the more coverage you need, the more antennas you need, the better service that they can be provided for you. They want to keep you as their customer. So, and then the next slide So when I talk about, we don't want to have the thought that just because it's a radio wave, how does that work? Unless a device is calling another device on the same tower, all these radio waves actually touch copper. It's like our phones in our house, when we used to wired phones, that actually touches copper. It goes from the phone to the tower, to the base station controller, and all that's doing is these computers are looking for the number that you call. If it's not there, it moves to the next one. And all of these towers keeping record of the phones that it's communicating with. This entire network is run by computers that know where the device is. That's how they can connect a call so quickly. But they can't all be connected wirelessly. So they get the gateway. The gateway goes to copper. And this copper line is how we can connect multiple switches together, and switches contain lots of cell towers. That way we can have a wireless network that's actually got a backbone built on phone cables. And so even though we're using a wireless device, it's actually touching copper. It's actually going to copper. So it doesn't go into space and it doesn't come down. And anywhere where you don't have a cell tower, you're not going to have cell coverage. So if you're out in the ocean, for example, that sounds kind of silly, but you want to think, you see the cell tower, that's going to have a cellular communication. So this is how the network routes your call. And each of these computers maintains a log of phone numbers, and that's part of the call detail records that we get back. Now that rectangular antenna you see on that tower head, it broadcasts a radio signal. And in a lab, a laboratory environment, that is what that antenna is broadcasting in a perfect environment. It's about a 120 degree spread, and it broadcasts out. But it also has a little bit on the side and some on the back. But that's in a perfect lab environment. This is usually what, if you requested what a particular antenna, what its frequency broadcast is, you would get a graph much like this. And based on that graph, they build a cellular network much like a honeycomb from a beehive because it's very strong. And you get overlapping signals. So in case one side of the tower is full or there's a building in the way, a lot of trees, another side of another tower will cover that weak area. So they overlap these sectors, again, to give you the best service so they can make money. If you're unhappy, you're going to leave your carrier. You don't make any money that way. So they design these cell sites to maximize coverage for you. And that's how they're set up to broadcast, just like a honeycomb. And that little black triangle right in the center, that is one tower broadcasting in 3 different directions.
You're gonna leave your carrier unless you're stuck with your carrier, it's too much trouble.
That's a fact. If you're unhappy, there's no too much trouble. So this is a mapping from an old case I've done, and I just wanted to show you what my mapping software, or what some of our mapping software is going to report out. And so what it's showing you is it's accessing a side of the tower, showing a 120 degree angle, and then that shaded area, that is there by the software to catch your eye and let you know, and let me know, it's a person analyzing it, that that's the direction the antenna is broadcasting. So it's not to tell you where the device is. We're just talking about which way are the radio frequencies that was communicating with the device, which way was it pointing. That's all that shaded area is.
So if I'm looking at this thing right now, my tower is this thing right here, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And you talk about like 120 degrees sort of coverage, that's gonna be this.
That right there, so that is 120 degrees.
You're talking about the shaded area here,
Is that what?
is for I guess I call it illustrative purposes or something.
Yes,
Does that mean that there could be that there's a cell phone using, the cell phone out here is not gonna use that tower? Can you see my, you may not be able to
I
see my,
cannot see, I'm sorry. Can you see it a little bit?
can you see, okay, you see it?
Yes, sir.
Does that mean if I got a cell phone like right out here, that it's not gonna use that tower?
Technically, if that cell phone accesses that tower, it is using that tower. So I can tell you it's using the tower, but I can't tell you where it is, where it's using it from.
Okay, I was trying to figure out, when you said it's to catch our eye, I think you, why'd you say this area here was to catch our eye?
I want your eye to know that the phone was accessing that tower from that direction.
Okay. And I guess that's why I'm asking it, because that shows more than a direction. That shows a boundary.
It shows an area. That shaded area is just to draw the eye more towards, it's coming from that area instead of behind it.
So is this boundary, so I'm trying to just get things straight. Is this boundary a strict boundary? Absolutely not. That's what I thought. Okay. So this is illustrative of sort of an area or a direction. But this boundary very well may extend a little further or a little less, not be perfectly arc-shaped, and may.
Yes, sir, that boundary has absolutely nothing to do with the cell site coverage, nothing at all. It is put in by the software just as illustrative, just to know which direction that antenna was pointing and broadcasting.
I understand the point of that.
Yes, sir. And then the next slide. This is actually what a cell site broadcasting looks like. That is two cell sites broadcasting two different sectors, and that topmost antenna is in red, that bottommost is in blue, and you can see how they overlap each other and bleed over in each other, and have that side lobe and the back. So, like he was saying, that where was this device? This is from an actual case, but not this case. Where was the device that when it was accessing that tower? If it's the red, it's somewhere inside that shaded red area. When it accessed the blue tower, the tower I have labeled, I'm sorry, it's somewhere in the blue. So I can't tell you where it was. I just know that it accessed that tower within that tower's coverage area. And I'm saying tower. Right now we're looking at this, we're looking at one antenna on a tower. So we're looking at the broadcast coverage of an antenna on that top tower and broadcast for one antenna on that bottom tower. You can see how it overlaps.
Okay, so I do see, understand what you're saying about overlap, like this thing's gonna go out and this thing's gonna go out and they're gonna overlap each other.
Yes, sir.
What are the colors here? I don't understand this. So there's this brighter red pink thing and then there's purple.
That purple is the mixture of that blue and that pink.
I got you. All right, so this light blue down here,
Is the bottom tower.
okay, and then the pink is the top tower,
Yes, sir.
but where they overlap is the purple.
Yes, sir.
So now we see that we're never dealing, it doesn't look like we're ever gonna be dealing with straight lines or straight arcs and just 120 degrees.
Never.
Okay. And it looks like we're also gonna be dealing with multiple towers at the same time.
Yes, sir. And that 120 degree arc, you can see on the pink, there's some behind it, and there's some on the side of it. So that tower, those radio frequencies are actually bleeding back behind. So you can be behind that tower and still connect to the opposite face. It all depends on the traffic of that tower. And these maps, that mapping was done at a specific date and time. It will change based on weather. It's raining, the tower's not gonna go out as far. We're gonna have a music fest downtown. They're gonna shrink, they're gonna turn down the strength of the tower so that it encompasses a smaller area because you have more people in a smaller area. So these towers, they they believe the range of the tower, that could be maximum, and then they can turn down the power and it would be smaller.
So I'm gonna ask a question and may skip ahead, I'll also want to go ahead and, ask it. What I'm getting already from this, correct me if I'm wrong, is you or anybody's not gonna be able to pinpoint exactly where a cell phone is in terms of a meter or 2 meters or 10 meters or 20 meters, at any particular time.
No, sir.
What I'm getting is that we're talking about areas.
Yes, sir.
What I'm getting is you can tell me whether or not the cell phone is in this area, and this is an area downtown called Uptown, okay? And not in Midtown, over here.
And one thing to point out that I left out is all those little blue dots right there. Those are other cell towers. So
So that could help me exclude where I'm.
absolutely, because a cell phone it's not gonna grab the nearest tower. It's gonna communicate with the nearest available tower. That tower is, if you think of a tower as a cup of water, if it has too many transactions going on that it can't hold anymore, that tower will let you skip it and you will grab the next one that's available to it. But you're probably not gonna skip 3 towers. There's a probability of those towers being full at that exact point in time. So
I'm probably, can you see where my cursor is right here?
you would be closer to the towers than you would be out there. Yes, sir.
Yes, if I'm accessing one of these 2 towers right here, right, then my phone's probably not 4 or 5 towers over right here.
Correct.
Okay, I got you.
And especially looking at this map, that little blob of pink down at the bottom right-hand corner is coming from that tower at the top. But there's, how many we have? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 towers from that tower to that blob. If that device is in that blob, it's probably not going to grab that tower that's up at the top. It's going to grab one of the ones that's closer to it that's available, the closest available tower. Yes, sir. And I mentioned a few of these things. The coverage is never perfect. Things like buildings and the weather. Downtown, we have the river, cell phone, radio wave reflect off water. And the range of that tower antenna is going to be based on the population, the terrain, the number of towers around it, because the device is always going to grab the nearest available tower, closest available, not the closest available. And with that,
Do we begin on your work on this case?
yes, sir. Just want to make sure that those changes. Okay, yes, sir.
At some point during this investigation, did you receive call detail records for phones related to the investigation of the murder of young Dolph?
I did.
In particular, did you receive call detail records for a telephone that was identified to you as belonging to Justin Johnson?
Yes, sir, I did.
Did you receive call detail records for a phone identified to you as belonging to Cornelius Smith?
Yes, sir.
Did those call detail records have what I'm calling tower or location information?
They did, yes, sir.
Were you asked certain questions? We asked you certain questions about what you could determine about those phones?
Yes, sir.
You can begin.
So in February of this year, I met with Attorney Hageman and case investigator Jesse Browning. They gave me call detail records on this 901-236-1625. They were received by the search warrant by the investigator on the case in December of 2021.
And for the record, is that the phone that was described to you as known as Justin Johnson?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And then they asked me to look over these records on November 17th, 2021, between 1 a.m. and 10 p.m. on November 17th. And that was the analysis done on the 236. In April of this year, they brought me another phone number related to Cornelius Smith, 901-513-6236. And again, they were obtained by a search warrant in December of 2021. And on this device, they only asked a time frame of November 17th between 11 a.m. and 10 p.m. So not as many hours on the second phone number. This is very, very difficult to see from this angle. You're probably gonna not be able to make all this out, but this is an overview of Shelby County, Memphis, Tennessee, with the locations that they had given to me with regards at these dates and times. These locations are important. Can you overlap the cell records, just show movements? And
Let me go ahead and interrupt you and try to walk us through this location for a second.
yes, sir.
Okay, just with what we have here, with people not from Memphis to start, okay?
Copy that.
Mississippi River, downtown Memphis, is that right?
Yes, sir.
This is probably about where we are right about here or something, is that right? Because the
Oh, okay, I see the cursor. I couldn't see it. I apologize. Yes, that is correct. Yes, sir.
downtown Memphis. I go up here to my green dot here. It's a few miles away. Is that crosstown concourse?
Yes, sir.
There actually is a yellow line that connects. It's just probably impossible to see from where they are. And if I go to my next thing here, this is East Memphis. And the line is to the Valero gas station.
Yes, sir.
Is that correct? I go here to the red dot, South Memphis. This is near the airport. This is the homicide scene, 2370 Airways.
Yes, sir.
And I go down further south. There's Whitehaven over here. Further south, the Gospel Garden Apartments. Used to be 2-lane apartments.
Yes, sir.
Alright, so South Memphis, homicide scene, technically South Memphis. You familiar with the neighborhood Orange Mound?
Yes, sir.
In Orange Mound. Valero gas station by University of Memphis, East Memphis. And crosstown next to downtown, a few miles from where we're at.
Yes, sir.
And all this, so you go back to the time when we were looking at here, what's all this stuff?
So I loaded the gold detail records in an application called PLX by Penlink. And I did that so I can pull up every cell tower within 10 miles of, of Memphis, Tennessee, dead center, not downtown, but it's kind of dead center of Memphis, Tennessee. And based on the cell site list that I got from Indicat, there were 563 T-Mobile towers within 10 miles of Memphis, Tennessee. Based on all of those towers, we're going to look at the ones that the device accessed during the time frame that was requested. That was just a zoomed in location for the homicide scene on Airways. It was just north of the airport.
Okay, so this is Nikita's Cookies.
Yes, sir.
Airways Boulevard.
Yes, sir.
One second. Yeah, might as well. We had a couple of slides that became not relevant, and so we're taking them out, so
Yes, sir.
but they're still on the computer, so we're switching, we fast forward, basically. Okay, will you take back up?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
This is a screenshot of the document that we received from T-Mobile. This is one of the first pages of the call detail records. And what we've got here is the name and address of the subscriber, this top red box. And it comes back to the period guide and the address of 2667 Pfizer. And then at the bottom, the activation and termination dates of this account. So when was this account created? And the activation date was on 9/22 of 2020.
Through the investigation, from there, that to be a relative of Justin Johnson.
Yes, sir, that's correct. That's Justin Johnson's sister. And this is the subscriber information for the second phone number. The name and address of the subscriber, Cornelius Smith, and the subscriber address of 1766 Wild Rose in Memphis, Tennessee.
So Smith's phone is actually subscribed to him, or he's actually a listed
Yes, sir.
subscriber,
Yes, sir.
and Johnson's phone is his sister.
Yes, sir. That's correct. And then the activation and termination dates, at the time we received this, it was activated on 9/25 of 2021.
Looks like we're beginning with the questions that you were asked and analyzed with regard to 236-1625, which you testified is the phone described as Justin Johnson's.
Yes, sir. And these were the questions that, from our meeting, that they were asking me, am I able to determine from these records, if the device left the crosstown concourse? If I was able to determine if the device went to the Valero gas station at Park and Highland, am I able to determine if the device returned to the crosstown concourse? And again, did the device leave crosstown again? And was I able to determine where the device was during the time of the murder? So 12:21 p.m. to 12:23 p.m. Then was I able to determine if the device went to the Gospel Gardens apartments? And did the device return to the crosstown concourse after that? Those are the questions that were asked me. That was the basis of what I was looking for during this analysis. So the call detail records come from T-Mobile and UTC, Universal Time Coordinated. The records come universal so that no matter where you are in the world, you can adjust the time to your local time. And our software does that, and we can do that looking at the data, setting the copy, and then I analyze the copy of these call detail records. And at this time, we were outside of daylight savings. So our time zone here in Memphis, Tennessee is UTC -6, spring forward, fall back. So I adjusted the call detail records to our local time zone. I did not leave them in UTC time. And then the second phone number, the 901-513-6236. Again, these records were received from T-Mobile and UTC, and I adjusted the time zones on them as well. And only question asked on this phone number are between the hours of 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. What towers were being accessed by this device? Now, they asked me until 10 p.m. There was no activity on the device from, I think, 5:48 p.m. to 10 p.m. That's why the hours 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. is listed in this slide, because there was nothing to look at after 5 p.m. So 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. there was nothing.
And this is the Cornelia Smith phone?
Yes, sir. So these were the tools that I used to look at this information. I used a program, it's a web-based called CellHawk. I used Microsoft Excel because the records come in a TXT format or a PDF. But I can make a copy and then I can change the time zone to reflect local easily in Microsoft Excel. And also use PLF by Penlink. Those are the versions of software that I use on this case. When these files are opened up in Excel, they are actually pretty wide. So we hide a couple of the rows when we're not trying to use that information because it's not relative to the investigation. We can hide out the device ID, the IMSI, the IMEI, and so what you've got across the top, and you can't see it, and that's why we use really big monitors, because these fonts are so small, and the rows across the top are pulled from the records. And what you've got is the date and time, and then I changed it from UTC to Central Standard. The duration of the call, and the duration is how long that call lasted. The direction of the call, was it leaving the mobile device or incoming or outgoing? Then the azimuth of the cell tower that was used. The azimuth is the dead center of that antenna of that 120 degrees. Then that azimuth would have 60 degrees to the left of it, 60 degrees to the right. So that's the dead center of that antenna. But as we've seen, that antenna can be more than 120. But the cell company knows the azimuth of that antenna. They're reporting that to us. In the location of the cell tower used, they provide it in two different ways to us. They give us the latitude and longitude of the exact tower, and that is perfect. Because a lot of times you see a tower out in the middle of a field. That field has a physical address on the road, but that's not where the tower is. So they give us the latitude and longitude of that tower, so we can walk right to it using GPS if we had to repair it. They also give us the physical address of the tower, which would be the address of the road that it's numbered off of. And they're usually not going to be in the same spot. The physical address is where you would go, and you would see the tower somewhere on that property.
I have a couple questions, and maybe stuff you get to. I don't want to forget, I'm just going to go ahead and ask them. You mentioned duration of the call.
Yes, sir.
So if I see a call between one person and another person on this call, these are records, and let's say it's 8 seconds, or 10 seconds, or 12 seconds, or whatever the time is, does that mean those people talk for 8 seconds, or 10 seconds, or 12 seconds?
It means you hit the send button and then hit the end button. That's the duration of that call. Whether there was communication between two people, or a voicemail being left, or you called and you listened to somebody's voicemail, I don't really feel like leaving a message again. That's the duration of the call.
So the duration doesn't actually mean two people necessarily talking to each other.
Correct.
The second thing is, we're talking about calls. Is this same sort of stuff done for like text messages and stuff?
Yes, sir. On the T-Mobile network, the text messages don't have cell site location. It's routed through the network, but they don't tell you which tower it was using. So now we're looking at calls and data sessions.
So with text messages, we're more limited on T-Mobile.
Yes, sir. And now we're looking at the phone number 901-236-1625, which belongs to Jonathan Johnson. And from 1 a.m. to 2:35 a.m., this device accessed a tower. Now this is where we're talking about the shaded area. The shaded area is just showing which direction the antenna was broadcasting its radio signals. It just happened to cover across town, which you see. I dropped a pin to denote the location across town. So that device was accessing that tower, and of course it was providing coverage for that location from 1 a.m. to 2:35 a.m.
And so we're going to ask a couple of things here. First of all, there's almost impossible to see from where they're sitting. But this red dot here is the crosstown concourse.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you say from 1 a.m. to 2:35. Does that mean that it's one phone call that lasts an hour and 35 minutes?
No, sir, the transactions that were reported, the events, the calls are on the next slide.
Okay, very good. Just listen to this stuff.
And I only map the data if it's there. So if there's a transaction that doesn't have a latitude and a longitude, we can't map it. So what we're looking at is what I could map. And there were 12 different events, like all outgoing incoming calls, between 1 a.m. and 2:35 a.m. And all of those accessed that tower during that time frame.
I got you. So here's a list of calls, incoming and outgoing, and the ones that we have information on all hit that tower that covers crosstown.
Yes, sir.
And is it fair to say you would not be able to say if that phone's on the 8th floor of the concourse or the 2nd floor of the concourse?
No way to know, sir.
Would be able to say whether or not it's inside concourse or in the parking lot?
No way to know.
Wouldn't be able to say if it's in the parking lot concourse or the street to the north or the south, the east or west,
No, sir. No way.
but in the area of the crosstown concourse
Yes, sir.
between 1 a.m. and 2:35 a.m.
Yes, sir. So this slide that you're looking at here, at 3:17 and 1800, so the 2nd a.m., the device accessed a tower on the T-Mobile network. Tower number is 65667. Sector 2, the azimuth of 180. That just means it hit the south antenna of that tower. And that was an outgoing call going to 901-210-0852, and that lasted 1 minute and 43 seconds. And that tower provides coverage for the area of the Valero gas station.
We're talking about entirely separate area of Memphis, right?
Yes, sir.
So
The University of Memphis area.
University of Memphis is right here. So the Valero station, that was marked here.
It's the green pin. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The green pin here, Valero station. And we're so far away from crosstown that this is not on this map. Is
It
that
is
right?
not, no, sir.
It's gonna be up and over here somewhere, is that right?
Yes, sir. And that highlighted road right there was the data that I had. That's from the records, and it was, that was that outgoing call to 210-0852, that lasted 4 minutes and 43 seconds.
At 3:17 a.m.
Yes, sir.
And at that time, the device is in an area with the tower that includes the Valero gas station parking lot.
Yes, sir. And at 4:49 a.m., the device accessed another T-Mobile tower, 65695, sector 64, azimuth 300, which is facing kind of north-northeast, with an outgoing call to 901-728-2851, and that call lasted for 21 seconds. And that tower is just south of the crosstown concourse that I have a pin dropped.
Is this the green thing, probably?
Yes.
For the green, ears crosstown?
Yes, sir.
Is this a same tower or different tower as before, when the phone was in the area crosstown?
That is a different tower.
Does that mean necessarily that, the phone's not in the same place as it was before?
It just, that tower provides coverage for the crosstown, same as the tower before, sir.
Okay, so the coverage for crosstown is gonna be more than one tower.
Yes, sir.
Okay, with both of these, the tower we saw before and the tower we just saw could provide coverage to crosstown.
It could, yes, sir. And this was the transaction that timed out the outgoing call to 728-2851 lasted 21 seconds. Then we go from 4:49 a.m. The next information that I could map was not until 9:56 a.m. later that morning. And there was an outgoing call to 901-728-2851 that lasted for 94 seconds. And that call access tower 11903
Yeah.
with sector 3 azimuth 260 facing west, kind of southwest, angled down.
Yes.
And that tower provides coverage for the crosstown concourse that I have a pin dropped. It's inside the shaded area as well.
That's at 9:56 a.m.
Yes, sir. And this was the transaction that I mapped out. And then there were two other calls that connected to that tower. Two outgoing calls, 404-662-8744 that lasted 69 seconds. And then 888-111-2663 that lasted 66 seconds. And according to service codes from the provider, service code 04251, that initial call was placed on hold. Those other calls were answered, and then they had a conference call. So you had a three-way call going on.
Okay, so there's a three-way call from the device. I'm looking for the time. What is it? 3:50? Is it 9:57?
Yes, sir. That was 9:56:53, and then the others at 9:57:17, and then 9:57:23. Then there was an outgoing push call made to 901-201-9581 at 11:30 and 13 seconds. That access tower is 65731, sector 13, azimuth 300, just facing kind of northwest. That lasted for 112 seconds, which is 1 minute and 52 seconds. And that tower is south of the crosstown concourse, and it appears that device has left the area of the crosstown. This tower is south of.
Crosstown's not on this map anymore, but
No, sir.
it would be. North of,
Yes, sir.
north of this map, is that right?
That's right.
So this would not be a tower that provided coverage across town.
Correct.
And this is at 11:30.
11:30, 13 seconds.
So by 11:30, the device has left the crosstown area.
Yes, sir. It's accessing town which are south of the crossing. Then, this is a screenshot of the log data, the tower that I just mapped, with the outgoing call to 201-9581 that lasted for 112 seconds. And there was an outgoing call to 901-246-0101 at 12:06:07 p.m. that accessed tower 158660 sector 3, azimuth 290. And that antenna is facing west, southwest, and that lasted for 3 seconds. And then an incoming call from 901-315-9866 at 12:09 that accessed tower 165641, sector 132, azimuth 145, facing southeast. There was no duration on that call. Those 2 calls access the towers that are facing each other, the antennas that are facing each other from those 2 towers.
So we have 2 calls right there, 2 or 3 minutes apart, 12:06 and 12:09. And they're accessing these 2 towers, which are
Yes, sir.
near each other, pointing next to each other.
The antennas are pointed almost directly at each other, providing coverage for that area.
Okay, and do we have any pins? Do we have any pins for things we've seen before on this map?
There is a pin, but it is off map. That's the area of Lamar and Sims. The Valero gas station is out on there. It's zoomed in too close to see the homicide scene, or because that's writing on the left is the end of the homicide scene marker.
Right on the left.
That highlighted to the left of the screenshot, towards the bottom left corner.
Bottom left corner?
Come up just a hair. Come up.
Oh, here.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is the homicide scene.
That is not the pin that I put on the map, notating the homicide scene.
You got cut off because it's right here.
Yes, sir.
So we're in
We're east of the homicide scene.
we're slightly east of the homicide scene.
Yes, sir.
Crosstown's way on.
Yes, sir.
Downtown's way west.
Way west. Yes, sir. And then next slide, that's the data that I mapped on the slide before, the towers that were accessed. Then in 1217,
12:17, pretty close to homicide time, is that correct?
yes, sir.
Somewhere between 12:21 and 12:23 or 4.
Yes, sir. And we've got an outgoing call to 901-519-1799. And that device access tower 164286, sector 131 with an azimuth of 90, which is facing directly east. That call lasted for 6 seconds. That tower is in the airways of Lamar, the area of airways of Lamar, just north of the homicide scene.
You're going to catch up real quick over here.
Yes, sir.
Okay, 12:17. If we could reverse one slide. 12:17. Towers here, is that towers here?
Yes, sir.
And that's not you doing that. What is our We have a pin on this map.
There's no pin on this map. The homicide scene is off screen, towards the bottom.
Airways. Trying to figure out how far up it is. You have a landmark on this. We'll see it better on the next map.
Yes, sir.
Okay. But the homicide scene is over here somewhere.
It's just, south, so towards the bottom of that map.
Okay. Here.
Because you've got airways that's running north and south, and, we need to get closer to the interstate to see the homicide scene.
And we are about 6 minutes or somewhere between 4 minutes and 7 minutes from homicide.
Yes, sir. And again, this is the data that was asked of that outgoing voice call that lasted 6 seconds. And then at 12:22:40.
Let me stop you for a minute. We need to take a break. Just a quick refresher. 10:15. Your book here.
Fourth Division recess.